Welcome to Pagan Crafting. I'm your host, Cara. Today we have a DIY Krampus Yule Candle made from recycled items, a glass hurricane candle holder, some vellum paper, a really cute image of Krampus reading a storybook to a little boy in front of a fireplace and a Yule tree. We have the fire flickering in the background. I'm going to show you how I made this candle. So join me today as we make this really cool Krampus Yule Candle. So what we're going to start off here is with a hurricane style candle holder. We want a nice wide mouth because we want to bigger the candle holder, the more we're going to see the window, the picture that we're going to put on the front. So the reason why I'm actually going to wipe it down with rubbing alcohol, I did do a soap and water after I bought this. I had to take the sticker off the bottom. There's some glue. So the rubbing alcohol is going to clean off any imperfections, any oils left behind from me or from washing it, and the glue at the bottom, because I would like to paint the bottom, the rubbing alcohol takes that off too. So we're going to start off with this really cool picture. This picture cracks me up every time. I love the picture of Krampus reading a storybook to a little boy by the fire. I love this. It cracks me up every time. So since I found this picture for free, I'm going to share it for free. It doesn't go on my Etsy store. It will go on my Patreon site. So if you're a free member or a paid member, you'll be able to get this picture and make your own lantern with me. So grabbing here, what we have here is some vellum paper. You want to make sure this vellum paper fits into a printer because their vellum paper comes in pads in different sizes, but you want to make sure it's an A4 that fits in your printer to print this out to the size that will fit your hurricane glass candle holder. So now I printed off mine. It took me a couple sizes to play with to get the right one. I was thinking about going a little larger, but I do want a really cool effect with this window, and I'll show you the reason why later. I want it going just a little bit smaller. Now I'm just trimming off the excess vellum right to the edge. In this case, we don't need to see the edging on here. Oh, I was going to put it on that paper towel, but it had rubbing alcohol and I didn't know how it would affect the vellum paper. So I'm just going to grab some wax paper here. I'm using some matte finish Mod Podge because where I want the window, I don't want it shiny for what I have planned down the road. So using actually a bit generous amount of glue here. And you don't want any dry pockets when you put it on, because once you go to spread it out, you have a dry or a thin area of glue, it actually will rip on you. So having a little bit excess, it's easier to squeeze out any bubbles, any excess lines, and fan it and be able to move it a little bit if you need be. Starting from the inside, spreading to the outside with your thumbs, gently mush the glue to the edges. That's a technical term. And just wipe away any excess glue. And there you have it. We're going to let that dry now for a bit. And while that's drying, I'm going to grab some egg cartons. And we are going to make some brickwork out of it. We're going to make some stones. Great for dioramas. It's going to be great for this stonework, what I have planned here. Now I'm thinking about making a window sill around it, a window frame. So measuring with my heart, I'm not getting too technical here. So whatever the size that you choose, measure with your heart. Nothing needs to be too technical and mathematical when it comes to pagan crafting. Because I'm an artist, I'm right-brained, my friends. I am not mathematical. So we're just going to measure with our heart. Boop. Now this one's got a little lip to it and I like that, so I'm going to glue that one onto the bottom. And I'm going to be putting a couple layers on the bottom to build up the windowsill. So this is going to be the base of that. And it's paper, so we'll move and mold once the hot glue is on. And the hot glue takes pretty well on glass, I found. So because yeah, I didn't really have to sand this part. I was quite well chuffed. As above, so below. So we're making the same window still above. How'd you see that? Oh. Now this window still is going to have a little arch to it because I want to make the window look a little bit bigger. But if I made the picture itself bigger, it would have taken up too much of the glass. So this way I'll have a bit of a curved frame to it. And I think it'll look cool that way. Again, just grabbing some strips, measuring them out the same. Rocking in the same length. I didn't include a pattern with this one. I'm only going to include the picture of Krampus because it really depends on what type of glass you find. And I'm going to say the thrift store will be your friend, or a dollar store if you can find one. I found this one, this glass, Hurricane Lantern of almost, for only $3. So I'm just measuring out what's going to be the best. I was kind of figuring this out on the fly, so you see me kind of playing around with some ideas. Now that I'm getting a better idea how I want this framed, I went ahead and cut some strips. And using hot glue so everything cools down, I can keep maneuvering fast. I think the hot glue worked out really well, and you can paint over it too. Now I didn't make the window frame as long as I needed to, so I'm going to just put in a little filler piece in here. That was that I cut off too much. I want it being the same. Again, that's just going to be underneath, so we're not going to see that, but I do have a double layer I have to bring out. So I'm just kind of filling in that little pocket. I wound up framing it a little bit too short, so easy enough to fix. And we're going to be adding snow and a little bit of glitter later. So again, any imperfections will be hidden. And we're going to paint this all up. This should be just a really fun and easy project for you if you feel like making this candle. Just take your time and have some fun. So again, doing a double frame. And now we're going to bring over it's kind of like a metal lattice. Now I couldn't decide whether I was going to go make them black like a cast iron, but the original picture I was going off of for a window still, when I looked up 1700s window still, what they did have on them was like an iron, not like an iron, but like a steel lattice work that went over it. So I'm going to be painting those in a grayscale for sure. Again, just use some nice thin strips from the egg carton. You could use a very thin cardboard if you have some of that too. Cardstock paper won't be thick enough. You'd have to probably glue it 3 pieces together if you did cardstock, but I found the carton was working out really well to work with. And nothing like being able to use some recyclable items. Now I made a little bit of mistake in the bottom. I wound up being, it's been a little bit too far apart, but I didn't want to overlap the boy. So I wound up fixing that up and re-gluing it back on. So I want to be just under his chin, but it wasn't cutting over his head and it wasn't too far apart that everything didn't match up. So I just corrected that. So I didn't glue all over each part. I just glued at each part of the end where the frame two pieces touch. I wound up staying on just fine. And again, repeating for the other side, but I want the ends to cross and have a bit of a space. So I am crossing just the corners again to match up the window that I saw in this picture, and just aesthetically pleasing. It looks cool and it's easy enough to do. Now what I have going on here, we're going to rock in some bricks around the perimeter, around the window still. I have some larger ones cut up, and here I'm just cutting up some medium-sized ones, some larger, some oblong bits, and some smaller pieces. I want to give this a really cool, like a brick stonework to it. So it doesn't need to be absolutely perfect. And rinse and repeat for the other side. And again, I'm using some bigger ones, some shorter ones, long ones, and building up of just a really nice little frame of brickwork around. Now we're doing the brickwork around the edging of the frame, but we're going to do more oblong, rounder stonework around the rest of the glass. And this one I did cut them as I was going, because I was working around an angle. So some of them I kind of had to work a little shorter and longer. So just again, work at your pace, cut what fits, take your time. Okay. So now our next step is I've cut some of these longer ones, some of these more oval. And these I'm going to bring around the base to kind of give it, I guess like a ledge look. A ledge and like an old castle look, or looking into an old building. So these ones will be a little bit shaped differently than the rest of the stonework that I have going around the glass. So we're just going to bring that all the way around the edging. You don't want these cut out, these stones, to be perfect, because I want to have it, again, have it look like a really cool stone. Like I was burning myself, so I had to get on some little pink silicone finger protective things. It was getting a little bit hot. A couple burns on the top of the finger today, so I'm going to make sure I just protect my fingers here. So with these little thimbles, they're helped to be able to push down here, and we're just going to have fun filling in the holes using different shapes and sizes. I started off with some smalls to mediums that were around the frame, and then as it worked out to the back, I got a little bit larger. And look at the brickwork around the window. I'm really stoked with how it looks so far. It's gonna look pretty cool. So our next step is we want to paint. We want to paint these stones. We're gonna give it a prime coat here of all one color. I don't want to see anything peeking through. Now it's best to mix your own grays than buying a gray. Like I have bought some grays when I've needed to use a consistent. But I really find when you're doing dry brushing, you're painting stones or painting bricks and models and dioramas, you want to have a little inconsistency because nature's inconsistent. It's not going to be perfect. So with that said, I'm giving you permission to be imperfect and not put any pressure on yourself when you're making any artwork or crafts or doing anything that involves art magic. Now I really want the glass covered. I don't want any of the light that we're going to have inside shining through the holes. So this is where you want to do a really thick coat. Get into all the nooks and crannies, get into that glass, paint into the glass, paint between the holes. It's going to take overnight for this one to dry if you do it right, if you do enough thick coats. You may need to wait at least 4 or 5 hours or so, depending on how thick of a coat you went for. But when it's ready, you'll be able to do the next layer, and now we're going to be doing some dry brushing to get some different stonework flavors coming in here. So I really had to go over a couple times and stamp the heck out of the paint to get it into those nooks and crannies. Okay, I'll just leave it at that for a bit. Flatten out the bottom a little bit more, and I'll let that dry. Now that that's dry, we're gonna go for about a medium to dark gray. You can play with your colors. I started off with kind of a lighter gray for my background, and now you could have gone all black if you wanted, and then start building up a dark gray to a medium gray to a light gray and work your colors up this way. But being an ex-tattoo artist, we start with a medium tone, and we go to dark, and then we're gonna highlight with a lighter color. And I like doing that when I do my faux stonework or brickwork. When you're doing these type of finishes or dry finish, I will start sometimes with a medium or light color, bring in a dark, and then we're gonna highlight, and then we can go and rebrush if we want to bring out any more colors that need be. Again, there's really no right or wrong. You just go with what you've played with or what you want to play with. See, now I'm going in with a darker color here, and I'm not being too consistent with this color. We're just bringing in some low lights. So not every stone is getting hit. It's just a little bit here and there. And again, I can still see some of the glass, so I'm just going to do a really cool solid coating inside. I don't want to see any of the egg carton wording. I just want it all super cool, make it look like a window. So I wound up doing with just whatever gray I had left and did a coating inside. You can use whatever color you'd like. Now bringing in some chocolate brown. And we're going to do the woodwork, the wood trim around the window sill. Now I find when you are painting over the egg carton, that type of paper, that you do have to use quite a healthy amount of paint on your paintbrush. And it's actually going to be easier to pull and work the paint as you get into those nooks and crannies and corners around the lattice that you did. So instead of little teeny tiny dots and little finishes, it's going to take you forever to do. I would grab a little bit more paint on your paintbrush, and it's going to be able to pull it around over top of this type of cardboard paper. And now, easy does it as I bring in the gray. I really actually took 2 extra days to figure out if I was going to go black. As you can see, I still had black on my plate there. I was going to go the iron, because either way, when you turn down the lights and you put the flickering lights and the LED lights inside this at the end of the day, you're really not going to see the color of the lattice as much. But I did want to stay in tune with the 1700s window stills that I looked up in old castles. And now I'm bringing in some light. I mixed in some beige with some of that chocolate brown, and I made a lighter tone with that, kind of a coffee. It's kind of a coffee cream color I played with. And this one, I'm really dry brushing it as light as I can now that the brown is all dry, and it's going to give it a little bit of a worn woodwork, warm finish to it. And there we go. And something else I took me a while to decide on, and I'm glad my daughter convinced me, is that I could not decide if I was going to do snow in the window sills or not, because I wanted to, but if I made a mistake and screwed it up, I just screwed up a lot of work. This was a 2-hour project. I got down into a 24-minute video, but this will take you a good 2.5 hours to do. Total times, not including your dry times. And the dry times, you just walk away and work on another little project. That's the ADHD which way. Which way? ADHD way. We work on a few projects at the same time. Wait till you see what I got coming out here in some future videos for the month of December. We got some good ones coming your way, and the theme of the year for Yule will be announced in my next video. I've looked at some really cool trends, and they're all to do with nature and the magic of nature, so I'm loving that. Rocking in some of this white snow here in the little bits here and there, just enough like they've collected between the lattice of the windowsill. Again, dry brushing, just I was doing a light stamp of white, so I didn't go in very thick at all. Now we're going to grab some Mod Podge here, and I'm also grabbing a matte finish Mod Podge. And this will dry nice and clear, so you're still going to see the white of the snow. Now I'm going to be putting some sparkles on here, so I'm going a little bit thicker around the bottom of the windowsill. And then we're gonna add just a little bit here and there, just quick. We don't want too much, whatever catches. And I got these amazing oily, iridescent-y, clear white sparkles to put on. So shake that on there. And then what you're gonna do, I want to put in snow along the top too. I went for it. So and then just shake off any excess, and now we have some nice glittery snow in the windowsill. When we look through that window, it'd be really cool. But I love this snow just around the top edges of this glass. I think it made the piece. Putting in some LED lights. I want to put in 3 flicker lights in, because I wanted the fireplace to have that flicker, that warmth when you're looking inside from outside, and we're seeing a little boy look up to Krampus. He's been a good little boy this year, and Krampus is so proud of him. He's done all his shadow work, and he's come out on top for the year to come. So thank you so very much for joining me today. I had an absolute blast hanging out with you. If you're interested in making this candle, or you just want this picture for yourself to do something with, go on my Patreon. In the description down below, you can find the link, and there you'll find the picture for your collection. Have yourself an amazing Yule season, and we'll be back for some more fun.